MD explains 3 overlooked kisses that make her feel seen, safe, and cherished. As men, especially as we get past 60, we tend to focus on the numbers, right? The numbers on the blood pressure cuff, the strength we feel in our muscles. But what about the one measure of strength that truly defines our quality of life? The strength of our connection with the person we love, when that connection feels distant. It's easy to blame the usual suspects. We tell ourselves it's just age, or stress, or that our bodies just don't work the way they used to. But what if I told you the root cause often has nothing to do with any of that? In fact, a fascinating 2022 study from researchers at Stanford University looked at thousands of couples over the age of 60. They found that specific nonverbal cues of affection were a 35% stronger predictor of relationship satisfaction than almost any other factor. I saw this firsthand with my own patient. Let's call him John. At 72, he told me he and his wife felt like roommates. He was convinced his health was the problem. But the real issue? They had simply forgotten how to speak the language of intimacy. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells. And in this video, I'm going to reveal 3 of these overlooked yet scientifically proven touch points that can reawaken that deep sense of trust and connection. And I promise, they are not what you think. All right, let's get right into our first touch point. This one is perhaps the most powerful and the most overlooked. We're talking about the nape of her neck, that small, delicate area, right at the base of her hairline, just above where her collar begins. Now, here is the critical mistake that so many men make, and it's a mistake that completely undermines the entire purpose of this gesture. They treat the neck as a target, a stepping stone. They rush to it. They kiss it with a hunger that feels more like dominance than devotion. And in doing so, they send the entirely wrong message. It becomes a physical act, stripped of its profound emotional potential. They see it as a prelude to something more, when in fact this single quiet moment can be more intimate than anything that happens later. Rushing this gesture is like trying to admire a sunset from a speeding car. You might catch a glimpse of the color, but you miss the entire breathtaking experience. It turns a moment of potential connection into a moment of simple transaction. That's the pitfall we must avoid. The power here is not in the action itself, but in the intention and the patience behind it. It's about slowing down, way down, and honoring this space for what it truly is. So why is this specific spot so incredibly effective at building emotional intimacy? The answer lies in one powerful word: vulnerability. Think about it. This is a part of her body that she cannot see. When you approach her from behind, she can't watch your expression. She can't anticipate your exact move. For you to touch her there, for you to place your lips there, she has to trust you, implicitly. It's a complete surrender of control, and in that surrender, there is a deep, unspoken message being exchanged. Your gentle touch isn't saying, "I want you." It's whispering something far more significant. It's whispering, "I will protect you. You are safe with me. I am here to cherish you, not to take from you." This act bypasses the conscious mind, the daily worries, the to-do lists, and speaks directly to her most primal feelings of safety and security. When a woman feels truly safe with a man, a profound emotional door opens. And this gesture, done correctly, is one of the keys to that door. It's a silent promise of care. And this isn't just romantic poetry. This is grounded in solid neuroscience. The skin at the nape of the neck is incredibly rich, with nerve endings. These nerves are directly linked to the brain's limbic system. The limbic system is often called our emotional brain. It's the ancient part of our neurology that governs feelings, memory, and our deepest instincts for bonding and connection. So when you kiss her there, you aren't just touching her skin. You are sending a direct signal to the very core of her emotional processing center. A 2021 study published in the journal Social, Cognitive, and Affective Neuroscience explored how gentle touch on specific areas of the body affects brain activity. Researchers used fMRI scans and found that gentle, slow touch to areas like the neck and upper back activated the posterior superior temporal sulcus, a region associated with processing social and emotional cues far more than other types of touch. This provides powerful evidence that a kiss here isn't just a kiss. It's a form of profound communication that her brain is hardwired to recognize as deeply significant, memorable, and emotionally bonding. It literally gets recorded in her memory differently. To put this simply, think of her nervous system like a home security system. Most of the time, for all of us, that system is on a low-level alert. We're scanning for stress, for demands, for potential threats. A rushed or aggressive touch can feel like someone rattling the doorknob, immediately putting the system on high alert. But a slow, intentional, gentle kiss on the nape of her neck is like entering the security code you were trusted with. It sends a message throughout her entire system that says, "Stand down, all is well, you are protected." This single action can literally calm her nervous system, lowering cortisol, the stress hormone, and allowing her to fully relax and be present with you. It's a physiological reset button for emotional safety. It's the ultimate signal that she can let her guard down, completely. So how do you do this correctly? How do you apply this in a way that feels genuine and powerful? It's all about the setup and the execution. This is not something to be done in a hurry as you're both rushing out the door. It's a moment to be created. Imagine this scenario. She's standing at the kitchen counter, maybe looking out the window, lost in thought. Or perhaps she's sitting on the sofa, reading a book. You approach her from behind, silently. First, just place your hands gently on her shoulders. Don't say anything, just let her feel your presence for a moment. Then, with one hand, slowly, brush her hair aside from her neck. This small act is critical. It shows deliberation. It shows care. Then you pause. For just 1 second, that pause is everything. It builds anticipation most beautifully. And then, you lean in and let your lips rest softly on the nape of her neck. This is not a passionate, wet kiss. It's a warm, soft, dry press of your lips. Hold it for 2-3 seconds. Then, slowly pull away. You can give her shoulders a gentle squeeze and then simply walk away or continue with your day. The key is not to expect anything in return. No immediate reaction, no reciprocation. The gift is the gesture itself. It's a deposit into the emotional bank account of your relationship, made with no expectation of an immediate withdrawal. I want to share the story of my patient, John, the 72-year-old man I mentioned earlier. He was the one who felt like he and his wife were just roommates. He was skeptical when I suggested this. He said, "Doc, we haven't done anything like that in years. It'll feel awkward." I told him to trust the process. A few days later, he tried it. His wife was watering her plants, her back to him. He followed the steps exactly as I described. The pause, the gentle touch, the soft kiss. He said she didn't say a word at first. She just stood there. Later that evening, she came to him and took his hand. She looked at him and said, "Thank you for that earlier. I don't know why, but it was the nicest part of my day." That one small, simple action broke a pattern of emotional distance that had been building for years. John discovered a powerful synergy. He found that combining this gesture with a simple verbal affirmation later in the day, like, "I was thinking about you today," amplified the effect tenfold. It's a small tweak, but it made a world of difference for him. It rebuilt a bridge, and it can for you too. If you understand the profound power of building this kind of trust, a trust that goes beyond words, just take a moment and write the word trust in the comments below. It's a way of acknowledging that true strength in a relationship is built in these quiet, gentle moments. Moving on to our second point, this one is more subtle, more discreet, but no less potent. We are going to talk about the area just behind her ear, specifically that soft, sensitive space right behind the earlobe. It's a place of incredible intimacy that is, quite frankly, almost completely forgotten in the modern world. And that brings us to the most common mistake men make when it comes to this spot. The mistake is simply ignorance. It doesn't even appear on the map for most men. We're taught to focus on the obvious, on the cinematic gestures we see in movies, the passionate kiss on the lips, the embrace, the touch on the waist. These are all wonderful, of course, but by focusing only on these well-trodden paths, we miss the hidden trails that lead to a much deeper, quieter form of connection. Overlooking this spot is like owning a beautiful home but never exploring the serene, hidden garden in the back. You're missing out on a place of peace, privacy, and profound beauty. Men often feel they need to be loud with their affection, to make grand gestures to prove their feelings. But true intimacy, especially the kind that deepens with age, thrives in the whispers, not the shouts. And this spot is a place for whispers. To ignore it is to miss a powerful opportunity to communicate in a language that is subtle, sophisticated, and deeply reassuring. It's a silent language of care. So, why does this seemingly insignificant spot hold so much power? It's all about association and biology. From a psychological perspective, think about what the ear is for. It's the gateway for secrets, for sweet nothings, for the private jokes shared between two people and no one else. It's an incredibly personal space. When you bring your lips to the area just behind it, you are entering a zone that is emotionally reserved for the highest levels of trust and closeness. You are physically placing yourself in the space where her most intimate secrets are shared. This act, without a single word being spoken, says, "I am worthy of being in your most private space. I honor this closeness." It's a gesture of profound respect for her personal world. It says that you are not just an outsider looking in, but a trusted partner who is invited into the inner sanctum. This builds a powerful sense of being chosen, of being special, not for your appearance, but for the unique, private bond that the two of you share. It affirms the sanctity of your shared world. And just like our first point, this is backed by fascinating and concrete science. The skin behind the ear is exceptionally thin and sensitive, with a high concentration of nerve endings near the surface. But more importantly, this gentle stimulation has been shown to have a direct effect on our brain chemistry. I'm talking about a powerful hormone called oxytocin. You've likely heard of it. It's often called the bonding hormone or the cuddle hormone. Oxytocin is a neuropeptide that plays a massive role in social bonding, trust, and feelings of calm and connection. A landmark study from the University of California, San Francisco, published in 2018, investigated the physiological effects of affectionate touch. They found that gentle, targeted touch to sensitive, non-overtly sexual areas directly stimulated the vagus nerve, which in turn triggered the release of oxytocin from the pituitary gland. The result? A measurable decrease in heart rate, a reduction in blood pressure, and a significant increase in the participants' subjective feelings of calm and social connection. So when you gently kiss the area behind her ear, you are not just performing a sweet gesture. You are quite literally, biochemically, helping to melt away her stress and reinforcing the hormonal pathways of your bond. You are using a scientifically validated tool to make her feel safe, connected, and at peace with you. Here's a simple analogy to help you remember this. Think of her daily life as a busy, sometimes noisy, radio station. It's filled with static from work, family obligations, worries about the future, all the noise of the outside world. A gentle, unexpected kiss just behind her ear. is like you reaching over and tuning that radio to a quiet, serene, classical music station. It instantly cuts through all the static. It changes the entire atmosphere. It's an emotional reset button that can shift her state from one of stress and distraction to one of calm and presence with you. In that single quiet moment, all the other noise fades away, and the only thing that matters is the peaceful connection between the two of you. You are creating a small, private oasis of calm in the middle of a potentially chaotic day. It is an incredibly powerful gift to give someone. So, what is the right way to put this into practice? This gesture, even more so than the first, relies on subtlety and context. This isn't a standalone event. It works best when it's integrated into another moment of closeness. For example, you're standing behind her while she's making coffee. You wrap your arms around her in a gentle, warm hug. As you're holding her, you simply tilt your head and softly press your lips to that spot just behind her earlobe. Again, this is a soft, warm, dry kiss. It is silent. You can even breathe in gently as you do, so she can feel the warmth of your breath. Then, you just continue to hold her for a moment in silence before letting go. Another perfect opportunity is when you're sitting side by side on the couch. You can reach your arm around her, and as you draw her closer, perform the same gentle gesture. You might whisper a single, simple word like, "Hey," or "You." But often, silence is even more powerful. The aim is for it to feel like a seamless, natural extension of your affection, not a planned maneuver. It should feel like a spontaneous overflow of your warmth and care for her. Let me tell you about another one of my patients, a gentleman named David, who was 68. He and his wife had fallen into a very comfortable but very quiet routine. Their evenings were spent in the same room but in separate chairs, often watching different things on their own devices. The connection was there, but it was dormant. He started using this technique. The first few times, he said, his wife seemed a little surprised, but in a pleasant way. But then, a change started to happen. She started initiating more physical contact herself. She'd reach for his hand. She'd lean her head on his shoulder. That one small, consistent gesture from him reignited her own physical language of affection. David discovered a fantastic synergy. He found that this gesture was most effective at the end of the day. It served as a beautiful, non-verbal transition, a way of closing the door on the stresses of the day and opening the door to their time together in the evening. It was a signal that said, "The world can wait. Now it's just us." It's a simple, tiny adjustment to a daily routine, but for David and his wife, it completely transformed the emotional climate of their evenings. It turned silence from a sign of distance into a sign of comfortable, peaceful intimacy. And that is a transformation worth making. All right, let's move to our third and final point. This one is the quietest, the most subtle, and in many ways, the most profound. We're going to discuss a gesture directed at her inner wrist. Yes, that pale, delicate skin on the inside of her wrist, right over her pulse point, a place of immense sensitivity and symbolic meaning. Now, the mistake that men make here is one of substitution. They think that holding her hand is enough, and holding hands is a wonderful, essential gesture of connection. Don't get me wrong, but it has become common, it's familiar. And because of that familiarity, it can sometimes be done on autopilot. Men will hold their partner's hand while their mind is a million miles away, thinking about work, finances, or the game on TV. They substitute the routine act of holding hands for the intentional act of showing reverence. By doing so, they miss a golden opportunity to elevate a simple moment of contact into a profound moment of connection. They check the box for physical contact, but they fail to deliver the emotional message that this specific, more focused gesture is designed to send. The common mistake, then, is believing that general affection is the same as specific, intentional reverence. It is not. This small, deliberate act separates the mundane from the memorable. It's the difference between saying hello to someone in a crowded room and taking a moment to stop, look them in the eyes, and tell them you're genuinely happy to see them. One is a pleasantry, the other is a connection. So, why is this specific gesture so uniquely powerful? What is its core mechanism? In a word, it's an acknowledgement. This is not a gesture of passion or overt romance. It is a gesture of deep, respectful acknowledgement. When you gently take her hand, turn it over, and place a soft kiss on her inner wrist, you are communicating a multitude of messages on a subconscious level. First, you are acknowledging her life force. This is where her pulse is most easily felt. It's the tangible, rhythmic beat of her heart, her very essence. A kiss is a nonverbal way of saying, I see you, I see the life within you, and I honor it. Second, you are acknowledging her sensitivity. The skin here is thin and delicate. It requires a gentle touch. This act demonstrates restraint, tenderness, and an awareness that she is not something to be handled roughly. It shows that you understand the difference between strength and force. Finally, you are acknowledging her time and presence. It's an act that requires you to pause the conversation, to break the normal flow of things, and to create a singular moment that is just about noticing and appreciating her. It is an act of pure presence. And in our fast-paced, distracted world, the gift of your undivided, reverent attention, even for just 5 seconds, is one of the most precious things you can offer. And as with our other points, this concept is firmly rooted in established psychology and neuroscience. The act of giving and receiving gentle, caring touch triggers what is known in psychology as a pro-social feedback loop. Research from institutions like the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley has explored this in depth. A 2020 meta-analysis published in the Psychological Bulletin reviewed dozens of studies on affectionate touch and its impact on relationships. A key finding was that intentional, non-sexual caring touch was directly correlated with higher levels of empathy and compassion in both the giver and the receiver. When you perform this act of reverence, it doesn't just make her feel good. It literally activates the empathy centers in your own brain, like the anterior cingulate cortex. It makes you more attuned to her emotional state. This creates a powerful, positive, upward spiral. Your act of empathy makes her feel seen and valued, which makes her more open and affectionate toward you, which in turn reinforces your own feelings of empathy and connection. It's a beautiful, self-perpetuating cycle of mutual appreciation, all sparked by one small, intentional gesture. You are, quite literally, training your brains to be more connected to each other. To make this idea even clearer, let's use an analogy. If the kiss on the nape of the neck is a gesture of protection, and the kiss behind the ear is a gesture of intimacy, then the kiss on the inner wrist is a gesture of reverence. Imagine a knight in an old story. When he approaches his queen, he doesn't grab her in a passionate embrace. He kneels, he takes her hand, and he gently kisses it. It's a sign of respect, of loyalty, of acknowledging her value and her status in his life. This small gesture carries that same classic, timeless weight. In a modern context, you are her knight, and this is your way of kneeling. It's a silent, powerful declaration that says, in my world, you are royalty. I respect you, I value you, and I am devoted to you. It's a gesture that transcends simple romance and touches on something deeper, something more chivalrous and profound. It shows a depth of character that is rare and incredibly attractive. So, how do you perform this gesture without it feeling staged or awkward? The context is everything. This is a quiet, daytime gesture. It's perfect for when you are sitting together, engaged in a conversation. Perhaps you're at a coffee shop or just talking on your own sofa. At a natural pause in the conversation, simply reach out and gently take her hand in yours. Hold it for a moment. Then use your other hand to gently turn her hand over so her palm is facing up. Make eye contact with her for just a second. This is important. Let her see the warmth and sincerity in your eyes. Then, lower your head and press your lips softly against her inner wrist. It should be a brief, dry, and silent kiss. Then, simply turn her hand back over, perhaps give it a gentle squeeze, and seamlessly continue your conversation. The key is to make it feel like a natural punctuation, mark of affection in the middle of your everyday life. It shouldn't be a grand, dramatic production. Its power is in its quiet simplicity. This gesture has an incredible ability to act as a peacemaker. I had a couple of patients, Mark and Susan, both in their late 60s. They were wonderful people, but like any couple together for decades, they could get into cycles of bickering over small things. The arguments were never serious, but they created a low level of tension. I taught Mark this gesture, framing it as a pattern interrupt. I told him, the next time you feel a pointless argument starting, when you feel that tension rising, I want you to stop. Just stop talking. And gently, without aggression, perform this gesture. He tried it a week later. They were starting to argue about something trivial related to directions. He said he just stopped mid-sentence, took her hand, and kissed her wrist. He said Susan was so surprised that she fell completely silent. The tension just evaporated. She looked at him, and after a moment, she smiled. The argument was forgotten. They began to use it as their silent signal. It was their way of saying, "This isn't important. We are important." They discovered a beautiful synergy. The gesture was most powerful when it was used to replace a moment of potential conflict with a moment of connection. It was their secret weapon for maintaining peace and respect. If the idea that a simple, respectful gesture can be this powerful is surprising to you, if it's a new idea, just take a moment and type the word "surprised" in the comments. It helps me understand what resonates most with you. So let's just quickly bring everything together. We've discovered 3 profound yet simple touch points. The nape of the neck, a gesture of absolute trust. The quiet space just behind her ear, a gesture of deep intimacy. And the inner wrist, a gesture of true and gentle reverence. These are not just actions, they are a language. But as I always say, knowledge without action is merely entertainment. I want this to be a transformation for you. So here is your simple 3-step prescription for this week. First, choose just one. Do not try to do all 3. Just pick the one gesture that resonates with you the most right now. Second, find a single, quiet, low-pressure moment in the next 2 days. It could be while she's reading or looking out the window, a moment of stillness. Third, and this is the most critical step, perform the gesture slowly with intention and expect absolutely nothing in return. This is a gift, a deposit into the emotional foundation of your relationship. Give it freely. Now I can hear what some of you might be thinking. You're thinking, Dr. Wells, this just isn't us. It would feel awkward. We haven't done anything like this in 20 years. And my answer to that is, good. That feeling of awkwardness, that is not a stop sign. It is a signpost. It is the feeling of stepping off a path of emotional distance that has become too comfortable. It is the feeling of breaking an old habit and forging a new connection. It is the feeling of growth. So please do not let that momentary feeling deter you. It is the very proof that you are creating a positive change. Remember why we are doing this. These are not just kisses. They are silent messages that speak louder than words. They are your way of saying, without saying a word, I still see you, I still choose you. As we get older, maintaining and rebuilding that emotional bridge is not just a nice idea. It is one of the most important investments we can possibly make in our own health, our own happiness, and our own sense of vitality in this chapter of our lives. Your future self, the man you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, is counting on the small, courageous choices you make today. So if you are committed to making this change, to taking this first step, I invite you to join our community of men who are choosing to build stronger connections. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future science-based guides. And even more importantly, go down to the comment section right now and write 2 simple words. Day 1. This isn't for me. This is for you. It's your public commitment to yourself. It's a declaration that today is the day you begin. Let's support one another on this journey. Thank you for investing this time in yourself and your relationship today. In the next video, we are going to explore the #1 food that most men over 60 are deficient in for maintaining all-day energy and stamina. You won't want to miss it. Until then, remember this. True strength isn't just in the muscles. It's in the connection. I'm Dr. Audrey Wells. Stay healthy and stay connected.